Good afternoon and welcome to today's special presentations here in the city of Moreno Valley, here in the council chamber with the city council of the city of Moreno Valley. And today we have a jam-packed special presentations agenda. We have 4 presentations for today. And we are going to go ahead and start off with the first one, which is going to be presented by Mayor Pro Tem Shalinda Bernard, who will be presenting the award for Deputy of the Year for, I think it's this year or last year. 2023. There you go. Yeah, I think the mic needs to be turned on.
Yeah, okay, it's working. To be nominated for Deputy of the Year and be awarded is quite a feat. With a department size in the hundreds, it is imperative to stand out amongst your peers and be a figure for your colleagues that they can depend on. And for 2023's Deputy of the Year, please help me in welcoming up Corporal Mahoney. I'm laughing right now because everybody said, wait till you see how tall he is. They did this to me on purpose. Corporal Mahoney has been a part of Riverside Sheriff's Department for quite some time, and his portfolio shows the time and energy he has dedicated into making the community and department a better place. Corporal Mahoney has been a standout deputy in all areas of law enforcement this year, not only at the Moreno Valley Station, but department-wide. His dedication to service and the missions of the department were evident in each assignment completed. Beginning his law enforcement career in 2013, Corporal Mahoney was a part of the corrections operations at the Robert Presley Detention Center, working the floor and transportation. In 2016, Corporal Mahoney was assigned to the Moreno Valley Sheriff's Station, working specifically with the Special Enforcement Team's gang unit. About this time last year, Corporal Mahoney was promoted to his current rank, residing over parole operations within our city. Having over a decade of experience in law enforcement, Corporal Mahoney is a cut above the rest and being an excellent example of the department's core values: integrity, loyalty, professionalism, and leadership. Without further ado, please help me in recognizing Corporal Mahoney for Deputy of the Year for 2023. Could you please say a few words? I can't stand y'all right now. Can you raise this up for him, please?
Thank you. Thank you for the Moreno Valley Station administration, my family, and everybody that's helped me get here. Thank you.
I'll stand back here, we'll be even.
Big smiles, 1, 2, and 3. 2 more, ready? 1, 2, and 3. Last one, big smile, 1, 2, and 3. Perfect. Let me get one more. 1, 2, and 3. One more big smiles. 1,
All right, rolling right along. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for all coming to tonight's special presentation of acknowledging the Deputy of the Fourth Quarter for 2023 for the Moreno Valley Sheriff's Station. In my law enforcement career at the Sheriff's Office, I've seen folks come and go due to many different reasons. Law enforcement isn't easy, and it's not for everyone. From my experience, there are plenty of bad and crazy days. However, it is those that stand above those bad and crazy days and choose to be leaders and stand as examples within the Riverside Sheriff's Office that are recognized above others. Being a leader is something that a lot of people aspire to be, but fail to meet the requirements and the responsibility that comes with it. Thankfully, the Moreno Valley Sheriff's Station is full of leaders that make a difference in the many lives in the city of Moreno Valley every day. One of those leaders have caught the attention of multiple colleagues and supervisors, rising to the occasion when called upon. Please help me welcome Deputy of the Fourth Quarter for 2023, Deputy Almadine. Come on up, brother. Deputy Almadine has received quite the reviews, consistently impressing his supervisors with his exceptional work ethic. He is the first to volunteer for an assignment, regardless of the perceived difficulty or his familiarity or lack thereof with the task. Deputy Almadine is regularly the first person to chime in on the radio for difficult calls or requests from his peers or his supervisors. While he was always on his toes handling calls for other items, he is also proactive in our community. In the last 3 months of 2023, Deputy Almadine made 35 arrests, most of them being felonies, while also writing and executing search warrants on patrol. Deputy Almadine's thoroughness has provided great results with every investigation and the warrants he performs. Without further ado, please help me welcome and congratulating Deputy Almadine as the Deputy of the Quarter, the Fourth Quarter for 2023. Congratulations, sir. Now I'm going to put you on the spot and have you thank some people. Go ahead.
Unlike Corporal, I can lower this down a little bit. Once again, I would like to thank everyone, Sheriff Admin, my family, and also friends out there. So thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and moving right along to our third special presentation for today. We are going to be recognizing the classified employee of the fourth quarter for 2023. And an integral part of Deputy Almadine, this may be mixed up. Or is it correct? Yeah, okay. An integral part of Deputy Almadine and the entire Sheriff's Department, for that matter, is the work that goes on behind the scenes and behind the desks of the Moreno Valley Sheriff Station. I'm pleased to take part in recognizing Moreno Valley Sheriff Station's classified employee of the fourth quarter for 2023. Can we please give a big warm welcome to Senior Sheriff Recorder Clerk Gilbertson. Ms. Gilbertson has been making quite the noise in the Moreno Valley Sheriff Station, having joined the team in 2021. Ms. Gilbertson, in her short 3-year term, has been such a tremendous help to our officers in the field and personnel within the station. Since being promoted last November, Senior Sheriff Record Clerk Gilbertson has been training a slew of new employees on the basics of clerical tasks, training on citations, and work on processing restraining orders and booking sheets. She is known for her outstanding customer service skills, going above and beyond to make sure she's always helping to the best of her ability. Without further ado, please help me in recognizing SSRC Gilbertson for Deputy of the Year 2020. Yeah, see, it's throwing me off here. For Classified Employee of the Year for 2023. A big round of applause, please.
Thank you. I'll be brief. I just wanted to say my deepest gratitude to the Sheriff Administration, Captain Reichel, and our City Council members. Thank you for this honor. And I also want to acknowledge the fact that it is a great significance to me being recognized as a minority individual. As mentioned prior, there are hundreds of people in the Moreno Valley Sheriff Station, and I, as well as Deputy Almaden, are a handful of Filipinos at this station. So I wanted to thank City Council for that recognition of valuing the diversity in a work environment such as a sheriff station. And on behalf of, as I would say it in my language, in Tagalog, maraming salamat ang kaaralang ito. Thank you.
Alrighty. Sorry about that. There's one or two typos on here, and I usually go off the top, but that's what happens when I stick to the script. For our fourth and final presentation for today, we will be recognizing March as Riverside County Arts and Culture Month. And in closing the special presentations, it's something that we all have held close as part of our ongoing progress here in the city of Moreno Valley in terms of advocating and being a part to make sure that we're promoting the arts here in the city of Moreno Valley, and not just in the city, but making sure that we're doing what we can to provide those resources and that foundation to our community. Not only to the artists so that they can practice, their talents here at home, but also to open those doorways for our youth, especially for the kids, for the children, for the youngsters, so that they have those recreational opportunities to really expand on their imagination and really just express themselves artistically. And so although Moreno Valley moves at the speed of business, thanks to the leadership from our city manager, Mike Lee, to Economic Development Director Cruz Esparza, and everybody here at City Hall, it's important that our city and our mind are filled with varying topics and inspired by amazing sights. With this in mind, the City of Moreno Valley is honored to be partnering up with Riverside County and Riverside County's Office of Economic Development in recognizing March 2024 as the inaugural Riverside County Arts and Culture Month. The collaborative goal of Riverside County and the City of Moreno Valley is to bring our communities together and celebrate the diverse arts and cultural experiences that make Riverside County a distinctive and enriching community. Now that it's particularly a competition, but the City of Moreno Valley has been ahead of the curve with our recognition of multicultural and artistic events. These would not be possible without our Parks and Community Services team, bringing the arts and culture to Moreno Valley. Whether it be our very own Moval Multicultural and Art Festival that's actually happening this weekend, or the Juneteenth event, or El Grito, or 4th of July Fun Fest, all of these events are thriving and growing, and every year we're expanding what we offer to the community. As we partner up with the county for their Arts and Culture Month, accepting the proclamation recognizing March as Riverside County Arts and Culture Month, please welcome to the mic Ms. Rebecca Ross from Riverside County's Office of Economic Development. We give her a big round of applause. Absolutely. Now, I'm going to read a little bit off of the proclamation that we have here, and then I'll invite you to share a few words if you'd like, and then we'll call the city council so we could take a group picture. So a little bit of the proclamation reads, whereas Riverside County has emerged as a leader in arts and culture, and whereas Moreno Valley within Riverside County is actively striving to become a significant influence in the realm of arts and culture. And whereas, within Riverside County, the imperative support for local artists and unwavering backing for the arts community are recognized as an important element in enhancing the overall quality of life in Moreno Valley, thereby fostering economic growth through tourism, arts, and innovation. Now, therefore, be it resolved, determined, and ordered that the Moreno Valley City Council does hereby proclaim the month of March 2024 as Riverside County Arts and Culture Month to continue fostering the arts in our community and the broader region. Now, at this time, Ms. Ross, would you care to share a few words? Yes.
Thank you so much for having me today. First off, I just want to thank the city of Moreno Valley, and I want to thank the council and, of course, the mayor and the city manager for helping us in this endeavor. It's been a huge feat getting all 28 Riverside County cities on board, but Moreno Valley hopped on very quickly and very easily. And I'm really excited to say last week we got all of our marketing materials out. We got exploration passes to all local libraries, including the City of Moreno Valley libraries. And I can already report this week that Moreno Valley is the first out of all the locations to need additional passes. So apparently everything's going well here. So we encourage you all to be a part of Art and Culture Month. Go to one of your local libraries or one of the cities that are participating, and you can get yourself an exploration pass, and you can see the over 50 participating locations that we have in the county. And with a county this large, it's just really hard sometimes to know what's going on across all four corners. You know, if you're from Temecula, a lot of times you don't know what's going on in Coachella Valley. If you're from Moreno Valley, you don't know what's going on in Corona. So it's just a really great way to introduce us and expose us to all the amazing things our county has to offer. And I know it's really easy for our county to be in the shadow of much bigger counties that are in Southern California, but we're kind of a big deal, and I think we need to celebrate that. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Alrighty. One more big round of applause, please. Thank you so much, Ms. Ross, for reaching out and initiating this, and you made this happen, so really appreciate it. And with that, it brings us to the conclusion of today's special presentations, and we'll be back in about 8 minutes or so for our regular city council meeting. Thank you so much for joining us. Good evening and welcome to the joint meeting of the City Council of the City of Moreno Valley Community Services District, City as successor agency for the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Moreno Valley Housing Authority, Moreno Valley Public Financing Authority, and the Board of Library Trustees, and the Moreno Valley Community Foundation Board of Directors. The City Council receives a separate stipend for CSD meetings. I now call this meeting to order on March 5th, 2024 at 6:02 p.m. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilman Delgado. And please remain standing for the invocation given this evening by Pastor Anthony Lewis Fox from True Vine Ministries.
Please join me in honoring our flag, placing your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
Good evening, Pastor.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for inviting me to do the invocation. Let us pray. Father, again, we just want to thank you for this opportunity that we can come together in this meeting. We pray a special prayer on our mayor and the council team, Father. We pray that you will bless them to work together, that they would have the wisdom and the unity, even as they face issues and challenges that they'll be facing. Give them the wisdom to do business, that the community would be blessed, the city of Moreno Valley can truly be blessed, and the people can be prosperous. And we give that thanks in Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you very much, Pastor. Appreciate the invocation this evening. That brings us next to item D on the agenda, which is a roll call. Madam Clerk, I will go ahead and turn to you for a roll call, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz.
Here.
Councilmember Delgado.
Here.
Councilmember Marcus.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bernard.
Here.
And Mayor Cabrera.
Here. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next is E, and we don't need any excused absences this evening, so we'll go ahead and move into item F, which is staff introductions, please.
Jane Halstead, City Clerk.
Patty Rodriguez, Senior Deputy City Clerk.
Stephen Quintanilla, City Attorney.
Mike Lee, City Manager.
Brian Mohan, Assistant City Manager over Administration.
Sean Kelleher, Acting Assistant City Manager, Development Services.
Lonnie Jimenez, Chief Financial Officer, City Treasurer.
Melissa Walker, Director of Public Works.
Jeremy Bubnick, Director of Parks and Community Services.
Robert Cardenas, Human Resources Director.
Cruz Esparza, Director, Economic Development and Housing Department.
Ken Reichel, Chief Police.
And Jesse Park, Fire Chief.
Thank you very much, staff. A pleasure, as always, to be here with you in the council chamber. Next is G, which is approval of order of the agenda. And at this time, I'll entertain any motions to approve the order of the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right, a motion and a second on the table. Madam Clerk, if we could call for a voice vote, please.
Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delgado.
Yes.
Councilmember Marcus.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bernard.
Yes.
And Mayor Cabrera.
Yes. That motion carries. And before we continue, if it's possible to bring the vote up on the screen just so we can vote here as well. Perfect, thank you. Next item on the agenda, or before we move into public comment, for matters not on the agenda, I would like to mention that in addition to motions being made electronically, the city clerk will also conduct a voice vote for the visually and hearing impaired. Next is item H, which is public comments on matters that are not on the agenda. And please be advised that the city is currently offering Spanish translation services. If anyone is interested in these services, please let the city clerk know. La ciudad actualmente ofrece servicios de traducción al español. Si alguien está interesado, por favor, nos avisan. Now I would like to move on to public comments, and I want to remind everyone to direct their comments to the City Council. Each speaker will have a total of 3 minutes to comment. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on non-agenda items?
Yes, we do, Mayor. I'll call out the first three. First three are Tina Escano, Philip Rosenberg, followed by Julie Pedrosa.
Good evening, Ms. Escano. Hi. You can go ahead and come on up to the mic, and as soon as you start speaking, the 3 minutes will start.
Okay, the reason I'm here is I was wondering about the deficit that we have for Moreno Valley. I saw online that we have a deficit for 2023-24, 2024-25, 2025-26. Is that correct?
And we traditionally don't answer questions in the middle of it, but we can get you an answer. If you could leave your contact information with our staff, we'll make sure to get you your
Okay,
answer.
and I also have a comment that I would like to know what happened to the 2017 rainy day fund. And I was wondering, when I saw in here, I know that you approved the annexations, but I don't know what those are. If you could get that information for me. Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll make sure to get your contact information for follow-up. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Philip Rosenberg, Julie Pedrosa, and Benjamin Shield.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Philip Rosenberg. I'm currently 17. About a little bit over a year ago, I was going through domestic violence, and Building Up Lives Foundation really helped me. They got me through it. I'm in school now. I'm currently about to get a 3-year scholarship to RCC to pursue my career. And, you know, the whole way here, I was thinking in my head, what was I going to say tonight? And the biggest thing I think I want to say, not just to the council, but to the entire community is, if I'm 17, if I can do my part with Building Up Lives Foundation for the community, I think everybody, including the community itself, can do a little bit of something to help. There's so many different aspects in the city that we can all help out with. I mean, it can be something as simple as picking up trash, you know, but I think we can all do our part. Otherwise, well, I think that's all I got to say. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Julie Pedrosa, Benjamin Schiller, and David Nielsen.
Good evening, Julianne. I'm founder of Building Up Lives Foundation. Just want to do a little, let you know what's been happening just in 10 days. We do so much at so many times and so many avenues that it's really hard to do a 30-day. I'd lose everybody. Philip here actually was not in school for about 8 years, and he was under a mechanic. So he knows engines, he knows cars. So what he's doing is we don't allow him to work on cars unless it's something very simple, because he needs to stay focused on school. But he, on Sundays at our office, if someone's struggling, and a lot of homeless living in the cars are struggling with cars that are not mechanical sound, he's able to look at the engine. He can even hear it and tell you what's going on. And so, in fact, I got to challenge Roy Blecker on this one, because he knows a lot of engines, and Roy's going to be interesting to hear them compete. Who knows more? But he doesn't charge anything. We don't charge anything. It's just to help the community. Seniors and others that take their car and they keep getting a different answer of what's wrong with it, now they can get an answer and not have to worry about a cost. Take it to the mechanic and say, these are the things we need. But anyways, real quick, we've done 2 homeless car repair that he had helped. We Building Up Lives, me and my husband, house 24/7, 2 homeless. One is autistic adult. We took 4 women out of domestic violence. One was lifted out of this city. We pay for Lyft and Uber into shelters out of our county for safety reasons, that is. 30 houseless struggling with hygiene came in for products. There is a missing son. He has a health condition. We are trying to find him. 1 homeless and 1 widow received hot meals at Our Place restaurant. There's a program, you pay it forward, and they receive hot meals. The woman who's a widow is 62. She also just lost her husband, and she needed money to go to work. We paid for her gasoline. 2 dogs went into foster. One was pregnant, had 8 babies on the way going to the rescue. Homeless person we took to a doctor's visit. We gifted another nonprofit a trailer of clothing, and another nonprofit we gifted food products to go out this Thursday. We did 2 food pickups, over 6,000 pounds of food. Some of that food went to animal rescue. We're helping a hoarding. We're helping a senior who's 62, needing in-home support service but doesn't know how to get to it. I got 11 minutes, woohoo! And then not only that, we fed out of that 6,700 pounds of food, we fed not just our place, but in front of our store and throughout the community as well, and other nonprofits.
Thank you.
Did I say it too fast?
The next 3 speakers are Benjamin Shield, David Nielsen, and Patricia Hamlin.
Good evening, Mr.
Good
Schuler.
evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Temp, and City Council. As you know, my name is Benjamin Schuler, the founder of the Hole in the Wall, Inc. We are a homeless drop-in center located at 24187 Postal Avenue. Wanted to thank the city for trusting in us and believing in us and allowing us to continue to operate. Our job is to make a difference in the community where we live. We all appreciate. What I wanted to present to the city is we're putting together a homeless health fair, which is a Homeless Awareness Day 2 health fair. We're working on putting it together for May the 11th, 2024, from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. We're going to have showers. We're working on getting portable showers there. We're working on getting permission from the owners of the property to be able to operate the portable showers. We're also going to be working with the city and hoping that we can get some support with the city to be able to get the necessary steps needed legally with the permits to make that happen. We're going to have free haircuts. We're going to have free COVID testing. We're going to have a drug and alcohol counselor on board, a case manager on board. We're going to be giving away free clothing. We're going to give away free food. We are going to have a medical staff available. We just want to be able to reach 1 or 2 in Moreno Valley. There's a bunch of them that hangs around Postal, but they come by our office, and we always want to leave them better than what they were when they came. So I just wanted to thank the city. I have my team here. They have some numbers associated with the funding that the city gave us for the pilot program. My team is going to give you those numbers and how we went from 3 days open to 5 days open, and those 5 extra days allow us to handle more homeless people in Moreno Valley than you probably see. So with that being said, I want to thank the City Council and the Mayor Pro Temp and the Mayor himself, and thank you guys for listening.
Thank you.
The next 3 speakers are David Nielsen, Patricia Hamlin, and Richard Bolter.
All right, good evening. My name is David Nielsen. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and City Council members. I am the Operations Manager of the Hole in the Wall, and I'm here to give you a report, the first quarterly report verbally here regarding the pilot program. And again, I'd like to reiterate what Mr. Schuler said. Thank you so much. Thank you. We really appreciate it. And so we're, just for those who do not know, we're the Hole in the Wall. We're a homeless drop-in recovery center. We require no appointment for services and no cost for any services we provide. We're unique in that we're the only center of this kind in Riverside County. We have a program called Community Homeless Solutions, which this grant is applying to. It's a 1-year program. Our daily program consists of lunches, hygiene, clothing, bus passes, mail service, and 12-step meetings. Our real goal is to refer and help the homeless with access and placement into housing programs. We help with these 3 categories of homelessness: chronic homelessness, which is a long duration of frequent reoccurrence after a first episode of more than 90 days being on the streets. We also help with the newly homeless, those a first episode of homelessness is within 90 days. And we pay a special attention to at-risk homeless so we can prevent homelessness from increasing in Moreno Valley. So according to the bullet points in the grant, currently we're active in these areas of referral and placement services, help in accessing personal identification, mainstream benefits, ID vouchers, birth certificates, assistance with SSI, Medi-Cal, and CalFresh. We do case management, placement, referrals, and advocacy. Under emergency housing and crisis housing, we refer to shelters, transitional housing, mental health housing, sober living, adult protective services, DPSS, bringing families back together, single women with minor children, domestic violence housing for women who are fleeing, and senior housing. We do crisis intervention with domestic violence, mental health, drug and alcohol addiction. As far as physical health and homelessness, we are advocates for recuperative care housing for the homeless or those who are at risk leaving the hospitals, okay, as well as assisted living for those who are disabled. We also work in substance abuse and alcohol treatment. We refer to detox treatments, and we have a drug and alcohol counselor on staff. We do education, and we do 12-step recovery groups. Transportation, we do daily bus passes. We have a van to transport, and we do provide Uber. We refer to anger management, DV classes, life skills. We do provide community service hours for those who may need service hours. Okay, and we refer to legal aid, tenant landlord resolution, rental assistance, and utility assistance. So since the inception of the grant, December 6th, we've provided 296 articles of clothing, 197 lunches, 53 hygiene packs, 49 bus passes, and 33 ID vouchers. And so what that looks like, 197 lunches, 53 hygiene packs, 53 blankets, 63 pairs of socks, 17 shoes, 9 shorts, 42 pairs of pants, 49 shirts, and let's see here, we have one skirt, we have 17 jackets, we've given out 29 hats.
Thank you so
Anyways,
much.
it goes on and on. Very quickly, if I
Thank you very much. The 3 minutes. I know it's a lot of information, sir, but thank you. Thank you so much.
The next three speakers are Patricia Hamlin, Richard Bolter, and James Armour.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council staff. They've already said most of everything. I'm the executive secretary for the Hole in Wall, and everything that they spoke of, I make sure it gets done. But I want you to know, thank you so very much, because over the last couple of months, we were working only 3 days per week. Now we're there 5 days per week. We've increased almost 50% of serving the homeless. It excites me because I know that that's a lost kind of tribe, I call it. I was homeless myself. I'm a recovering alcoholic addict. So I understand the significance of us being there to help them through. And I just want to give you my heartfelt thank you. I won't take any more time than necessary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next three speakers are Richard Bolter, James Armour, and Bob Palomares.
Hello, Mayor, City Council. My name is Richard Bolter, and I am the Outreach Chair for the Hole in Wall, Inc. It's great to hear all the help that we're trying to put out for the homeless situation that we have going on here in Moreno Valley. My job is I take from outside the four walls of THIW at 24187 Postal Road onto the streets to meet them where they're at. And there's a lot more new faces that we've been seeing over these last 3 months coming up since this first quarter of being with you. We're doing our best to help them out in any way we can, as you hear about the amounts that we've been giving out, and it's not going to stop. You know, we are asking always for anybody that wants to come volunteer and help us take it to the streets. I mean, the way we approach it is we bring them a lunch, you know, pulling a wagon, whether we're setting up a tent somewhere, and we give them the documents where we have these referral services and where help is available for resources that they can use to help get them some support, maybe get them out of the situation that they're in, even if it's just relief for that day. You know, these folks, they're not going away very easily. You know, they've got their own issues going on, but what we can do is try to help them as much as we can. You know, and I appreciate being a part of this team, and I want to just thank you guys very much for your support, and we appreciate it. Good day.
Next two speakers are James Armour and Bob Palomares.
How's it going, council members, mayor?
I'm very appreciative to be here and the opportunity you given Inland Compassion to be able to expand our services and reach. I'm not going to be presenting my data today, but there is some statistics I want to share. The last 2 months, we've served 176 people. We helped 84 unhoused individuals living on the streets, 28 ID vouchers, 20 intakes for housing for case management, and 457 Narcans. But today I'm here because I wanted to talk about some misunderstandings and some concerns. So regarding the mobile free market, first and foremost, it came to my attention that one of our community partners who provide harm reduction, which is an evidence-based practice that's proven to save lives, was not conducting the proper assessments when distributing their supplies. Therefore, we will be prohibiting certain items at our events moving forward, because I'm a social worker and I believe before we provide our services, we need to be providing a thorough assessment, right? So with that said, I want to ensure that we maintain a safe and equitable environment for all the families and individuals that come to our free market. Of course, our harm reduction partners will be there to provide their information, but again, we have policies in place. Second, I want to ensure the city staff and officials that Inland Compassion will never disparage the city in any way, and we have policies that we're putting in place now that's going to prohibit the use of video cameras and things like that when it comes to city staff and our participants, right? And then also, the little bit of time I have left, I wanted to propose a policy called the Nonprofit City Alliance. So with this policy that I'm proposing, I'm hoping you guys can vote on, is for nonprofits who are funded through the city to be able to utilize the parks, right? To be able to provide services to the unhoused, to families, without those associated fees, because sometimes we might have participants that are in the over 100. And if that happens, then the cost associated with that could be around $500 to $1,000. I believe that the funds that were allocated to us could be utilized in a more efficient way to be able to continue to get the wellness kits that we have, because we provide wellness kits to the unhoused as an incentive to allow us to do our case management so we can link them to housing. So far, we've linked 7 individuals to substance abuse treatment and 2 individuals to housing. So as of right now, and we just started our outreach initiative last month. We have a system in place now, and we've worked all the kinks 2-on-1. They provide lift to individuals who need to go to transitional housing, and we have a plethora of services and resources that we'll be providing. So I just wanted to clear the air and propose that policy. Thank you guys, and God bless you.
And the final speaker is Bob Palomares.
Good evening, council, staff, chief, both of you. It's good to see you, Chief Reichel. I missed you. Anyway, I wanted to, this is the kind of stuff I like to come up here or when I'm sitting here, all the positive stuff. And Julianne had a hand in one lady, I think I had mentioned it, that she had been living in the street for 7 years. She finally got some help, and Julianne was involved in that. Also, one fellow that I was seeing at the 7-Eleven on Paris, Elena Baca Santa Cruz, gave me information in Riverside, because that's where this fellow was from, a ministry over there, and they took him in. So 2 successful things, and the Chief Reichel had a lot to do with these, because I think when they had that sweep, it encouraged a lot of people to take advantage of the services that are out there. Some of them had to be pushed a little, but it got it done. And I've seen the difference. You know, I think there's always gonna be homeless because they come from different areas. But the chief has done a great deal to, clean it up, and I'm proud of that. Thank you.
Next speaker is Roy Bleckard.
You can vote twice today. It's legal. Look at my 2 stickers. Go Garvey! It actually is. He's on your ballot twice, along with a lot of other Senate candidates on that. Today is the day that we actually do democracy instead of being a representative republic, and we make our voices known. It's what separates us, hopefully and will in the future, of banana republics, dictatorships, all across the board that we see in most of the world. But the system that was created in 1776 produced the greatest country in the history of the world, where you have the best opportunity to succeed, where you have, if you want to put a little effort into it, you can be anything you want to be. So it's very important that we do get out and vote. What is the sad part of it is, and unless there's a big surge here in the last day, is this will probably be the lowest turnout general primary election in the history of the state of California. That's how you lose what we have today. And that would be a very sad, if that's put on our generation, looking forward, looking back, when they look back 50, 100 years in the annals of history, are they going to look back and say, you know what, these guys at this date and time flushed it all down the toilet? So for those who say, I don't want to hear about politics, or I don't want to talk about that, or I don't want to listen to that, well, you may not, and that's your choice. But I will tell you this, after the fact is too late. When you lose it, it's gone. You're never getting it back. You might be able to rebuild it, but in 98.7% of the time, even if you do, it's not going to be what it was. And again, do we want to look back in the annals of history and have to answer to future generations of what we did? So that's my appeal, not only to everyone on the dais, down in the well, in the audience, but every citizen in the city of Moreno Valley, county of Riverside, state of California, and resident of the United States of America. Go out there and vote. You still got a little less than a couple hours left, but get it done.
The last speaker is Luis Palomares.
Luis Palomares, community activist. Wow, go Roy. As far as Garvey, that's, everybody's got their one they're going to vote for. But anyway, saying all that, that's freedom of speech. And, this is what this nation is built on. Our rights, our civil rights, all of that, our voting rights. But, in so many states across the country, there's so much gerrymandering going on. They make it so harder and harder for people to vote. It's almost, golly, it makes it so hard. But here, we can do it all right here in California, and people don't get out to the polls. We got how many voters? Over 50,000 voters registered here in Moreno Valley. And who goes out and votes? 220 plus people in Moreno Valley. And this board's making all this council's making decisions, and so is the board over there at the school board. I rushed over here. It was a dash to get over here, but I spoke over there, and I'm glad I got here. But look at all our military has went and fought for these rights. Shame on us. I get on the phones like, golly, go vote, turn in your ballot, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, I will. I mean, you don't even have to put a stamp on it anymore. Shame on you. Fill it out and put it in the mail. So yeah, it's a sad, our rights are going away little by little because we don't go vote. Just little by little. It happens so suddenly. We don't even see it happening. They're always watching. Big Brother's always watching. Our phones know everything we do. Everything we do. So as far as the meetings here, they got to change. Between all your council members, what can you do to change the day here? Because like Shalinda said last time, well, we're in the right, we're doing it the right way. That district's out, this district's not doing what they, but what about us? We need to be the bigger people. You're right, Shalinda. They are, doing it their way over there, and they're not going to change for us. So, I mean, like I said, it was a mad dash to get over here. I was driving the speed limit, but nevertheless, going this way and that way, swerving to get on that other lane. But golly, it's time. How do we get that on the agenda? We the people, can we request for something to get on the agenda? Tell me how to do it, and I'll do it, because it's got to change. Now, a lot of people work here. I know there's a couple of stuck there, but I know Shalinda, the two ladies, are always working. I know Cabrera's always working the Forever 24-hour campaign. So, let's see how we can go out there and talk to the constituents. And instead of pushing their agenda and your agenda, why don't we say, what do you think about the meetings, so you can get over here and come to these meetings? People can come because they can't get to both of them, or the other meeting over there at Valverde, because sometimes they're all going on at the same time. So that has to come. That has to come. Change.
Mayor, that concludes all public comments on items not on the agenda.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk, and thank you to all of our public speakers as well for joining us this evening. That brings us now to item I, which is the joint consent calendars. And before I open the consent calendar for public comment, I ask my fellow council members if there are any items that they wish to remove from the consent calendar for separate discussion or action. And after any requested discussion involving any given consent item has taken place, all consent items may be approved by one motion. And I actually did want to make just a very brief comment, not pulling it for separate action or a separate vote, but just a brief comment on item I-8. And if anyone else has any requests, please hit your speaker button and make sure to call on you as well. And I don't see any as of yet. If it's okay with the council, I'll just make a very brief comment on item I-8 before we proceed. And item I-8 for the public's information is an item regarding naming a new park that's located at Alessandro and Darwin. And the reason why this is on our agenda is because we will be getting a new park, another new park. I think we have maybe 2 or 3. Yes.
Excuse me, Mayor, just to confirm, it is not item I-8, item I-9 has to do with the naming of a park. I just want to make sure that we're referencing it properly.
Oh, okay. I have a typo on my agenda here. Yeah, okay. So for the record, it's item I-9. Thank you so much for that. It's I-8 on our agenda here. But yes, so as I was saying, it's a new park that we're getting. So just hats off to staff for bringing this forward, allowing the development to happen. And hopefully within the next year and a half or so, if they move quickly, we'll have another new park here in Moreno Valley. And it's going to be called Windsong Park as well. So that'll conclude my comment on that. But looking to the dais and my colleagues if there's any further comment or any other requests. Okay, I don't see any, so we'll go ahead and move into public comment, Madam Clerk, on the consent calendar items. Do we have any requests to speak on the consent calendar?
We have three requests to speak. It's by the same individual, Roy Bleckard, on item 4, 5, and 6.
I'm going to request that you pass a resolution acknowledging I didn't give you the lecture on the meetings on this day. I-4, the subcommittees. It goes back to show you, and this is part of the deal that Louise brought up about the meetings. It's one on ad nauseum that you all have ignored. Again, I even spoke with the mayor last time at the trash meeting out here. You need to reform this whole thing. You need to eliminate these subcommittees and stuff and have them into study sessions or something where you're all in front of that. We know the Brown Act and you don't have to go through that, but use a little bit of intelligence and logic to work through how the rules are and work around them, or maybe work more efficiently at how to get the job done. and eliminate the excuses of, I didn't hear about this or that. Let's put it all out here on the table where everybody knows about it. Let's quit hiding behind all these committees and all this other stuff and all this that we've gotten to that get us into the situation that we have today. On the general plan, I'd like a progress report on how the crazies, and I'm being very nice, how's the case going that the people that were suing on the general plan that we passed. You want to know why people do not invest? You know why you don't have 23 projects on your agenda today that are coming into this city? I'm going to submit to you that's one main reason why. The people of this community work 98.7% of the time against this community. Maybe some should have a little talk with the real forces and those aligned with the real forces in here that are trying to destroy this city. On I-6, the housing grant, potentially $1 million, I think it should have a discussion of exactly how these programs work and what they're for. Not opposed to necessarily funding it, but we should know. If you would inform people of what is going on and give them the instruction, and this is what we're applying the grant for and who can get it, maybe more people would participate in it instead of the privileged few that always seem to have their hand out and seem to get rewarded. And we all know how that works. So maybe we'll work a little bit more efficiently. I doubt it. Maybe you could start with the meeting thing. That's pretty simple.
That concludes public comment, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. And that will conclude public comment and bring us now to entertaining any motion to approve the consent items, or there were no items pulled, so I'll entertain a motion.
I motion.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion by Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz and a second by Councilmember Marquez. If we could call for a voice vote and then vote on the screen as well, please.
Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz,
Yes.
Councilmember Delgado,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcus,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bernard,
Yes.
and Mayor Cabrera.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk, and that motion carries unanimously. We'll go ahead and move now to J, which is public hearings. Questions or comments from the public on a public hearing matter are limited to 3 minutes per individual and must pertain to the subject under consideration. Those wishing to testify should complete and submit a goldenrod speaker slip to the city clerk's staff. Item J1 is Heritage Park Neighborhoods 1 and 2, south of Iris and Goya at Heritage Park. And before I continue, I want to pause at this moment because I, at this time, would like to make an announcement. I believe one of my colleagues also will do the same. But for item J1, I have to recuse myself. I've been advised by our city attorney and legal counsel to recuse myself from item J1 since I own property that is located within 500 feet of the project, and I've been advised by the city attorney that I may step off the dais and comment on the item as a member of the general public since the basis of my recusal pertains to the location of the property that I own. However, I've decided not to speak during public comment to avoid any appearance of or perception of impropriety or conflict of interest. So at this time, I will go ahead and officially recuse myself, and I will step away from the dais and leave the room until I'm called back into the room. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I have a comment also, a statement that I like to read regarding item J1. As previously stated, I've been advised by legal counsel that I have to recuse myself from item J1 since my residence is located within 500 feet of the project. However, I have been advised by the city attorney that I may step off the dais and comment on the item as a member of the general public, since the basis of my recusal pertains to the location of my personal residence. Thank you.
Since the mayor and mayor pro tem cannot serve as presiding officers on this matter, the rules require the city clerk to call for the election of another council member to serve as temporary presiding officer. I'd entertain a motion to do that.
I nominate Ed Delgado.
I'll second.
I'll go ahead and call a roll call vote. Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz?
Yes.
Councilmember Delgado?
Yes.
And Councilmember Marcus?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, City Clerk. For item J1, is there a staff report by staff? And who will that be presenting? Who will be presenting today?
Councilmember Delgado, it'll be myself.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
So, good evening, members of the City Council. The item before you this evening is for the consideration of 2 single-family detached residential projects that require a general plan amendment, changes of zone, conditional use permits for planned unit developments, tentative tract maps, and tentative tract maps. The Planning Commission considered these proposals on February 8th, 2024, and recommended that the City Council approve both projects. The projects south of Iris and Goya at Heritage Park are generally located east of Indian Street and south of Iris Avenue. The applicant has requested an amendment to the general plan land use map, changing the subject property's land use designation from residential 5 to residential 10. Consistent with the proposed general plan amendment, the applicant is requesting that the zoning designation for the 9.42 acre south of Iris project site be changed from residential 5 district to residential single family 10 district. The applicant submitted also a conditional use permit and planned unit development and tentative tract map for the site for the development of 78 single family residences laid out in clusters, with shared access through common internal streets. Guest parking is provided along the central spine road within the development. The South of Iris project also includes a 0.27 acre tot lot and a 0.12 acre dog park. Both will be privately maintained but publicly accessible. For the Goya at Heritage Park project, the applicant is also requesting the zoning designation of the 13.73 acre project site to be changed from residential 5 district to residential single family 10 residential district, consistent with the proposed general plan amendment. The applicant submitted the conditional use permit for the planned unit development and tentative tract map for the development of the site with 131 single family homes, which are laid out in a motor court design with shared access through common internal streets. Guest parking will be provided along the internal loop road within the development. The Goya at Heritage Park project also includes a 0.43 acre tot lot and dog park that again will be privately maintained and publicly accessible. The proposed building elevations include ranch, Spanish, prairie, and craftsman designs. Pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act, an initial study and mitigated negative declarations were prepared for both of these projects. Mitigation measures, where necessary to reduce impacts to less than significant, were incorporated. The environmental documents for the projects demonstrate that they will not have a significant impact on the environment. Therefore, staff recommends the City Council approve the proposed projects consistent with the Planning Commission's recommendation. This completes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Now it's time for council questions of staff. Are there any questions by the council? Councilmember Marquez?
Real quick, when was the first time this plans or any of these plans were given to the city?
So the South of Iris project was submitted in 2022. The Goya at Heritage Park project was submitted in 2023.
Okay, and the Planning Commission listened to their proposal recently?
Yes, the Planning Commission voted 6-1, approving the proposal on February 8th of this year.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. I'm going to open up the public hearing at this time. Public hearing is now open. At this time, I'd like to call the applicant, and there will be a presentation by the applicant at this time. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, council members, staff. I'd like to thank Sean. I'd like to thank Mr. Mike Lee, Julia Dakota, and all the other staff that I've worked with over the past many years. We actually did a pre-application beginning back in 2021, and then based on those feedback and input, we have spent the last number of years designing what you see up there. We tried to take into account the needs and wants of the city. We've had many different focus groups to determine what would best suit the city. We've tried to provide public benefit in both projects with regards to the construction and maintenance of the public parks. And we think that this would be an excellent, excellent community for people to live, grow, and work in. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. What was your name?
My name is David Patton.
Okay, thank you, David. Any questions for David from the dais? Councilmember Marquez?
Mr. Penn.
Yes, sir.
You want to give us a brief history on what you have done for the city of Moreno Valley, dating back to 1977?
My family started out here in 1977 when this was Sunnymead. And going back that time, there was not a whole lot here. My father built the southeast corner of Indian and Alessandro. There was a Stater Brothers and Builders Emporium there. We then built the northwest corner, which is a Food for Less Mobile and McDonald's, and that was one of the first deals that the city approved when they incorporated in 1985. We also did the northeast corner of Paris and Alessandro. It was an Alpha Beta. We did the northwest corner of Paris and Iris. It was a Home Depot. We have the 22 acres surrounding that, and we have the 25 acres that you see before you today. So we have been a community citizen for many decades.
So we're safe to say that you're not going anywhere in the future, correct?
No, sir.
Okay. I've got some more questions, but I'll wait till our deliberations for those questions. Thank you.
David, do you have an idea? So oftentimes R5s, you know, they're going to R10. They're really not R10. So what is yours, like 8? I mean, how many?
It's approximately that when you net everything out.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
We did not maximize the R10 density. We did not think it would be the best for those projects.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions for the applicant from staff? Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Public testimony. Now invite any public speakers, if desired, to talk about this project.
We have 2.
Madam Clerk, are there any speakers?
Yes, we have 2, Shaylinda Bernard and Louise Palomares.
Okay, first speaker.
All right. Okay. So, good evening. I seen that this project came up, and this project. So, for those that don't know, this project actually, the open area actually is the back fence of my house. So, when the developer says that he reached out and discussed this, and they conducted study groups, they did not conduct it with us in our neighborhood. Not one time did I get anything. Was it advertised by the city that there was a public hearing? Yes, but it was never, and I've lived there since 2016. It was never advertised, and there was never a discussion with us in the neighborhood about what we wanted or what it was gonna be. I heard rumors that it may be a duplex area. I heard rumors that it may be a triplex. Also, another issue that I have is, yet again, we're asking for another general plan amendment, and we just passed it. I wasn't sitting on council then, but I need to know what is the point of a general plan that was recently passed if we're going to keep amending it as need be. Is this really a necessity? As someone who lives in that area, in that neighborhood, even if they're not going to a full R10, that is a lot of houses, and it does not match the aesthetic in that area.
We welcome new housing development all the time. Right up the street off of Camaria, they're putting in 60 homes, and none of the residents, we don't have an issue with that. You're talking 131 homes crammed behind my house on that 9.3, and then another 60 to 70. And I think about how the parking is already treacherous because there's a elementary school there. The kids in that area actually get bused into the city of Paris by city bus and being able to overtake all of that. So I always think that when we're doing general plan amendments, essentially we're talking about a cluster of homes being placed in an area where that's not how we're associated and that's not how we're represented. We also ask, especially our planning commission, always says, know what your area is zoned for before you move in. Know what your area is zoned for before you move in. I knew what my area was zoned for before I moved in. And yet we're asking it to be changed yet again to something that we didn't agree to or have a discussion about. Essentially, this developer is putting in what I would basically say is a set of condos without attached walls. And they can dice it up any way they want and say it's single style. It's a set of condos. The only difference is the walls aren't attached. So I hope everyone takes that into consideration when they're thinking about these projects, and especially this one in particular. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
The next two speakers are Bob Palomares, followed by Luis Palomares.
Good evening again. Yeah, I went to the Planning Commission when these came up. And, you know, the Planning Commission dissects these things and they go over and over and over. And you're getting it from all of them. Sometimes I wonder, maybe the city council, when there's items like this that are going to be coming where there's a zone change, maybe you should look into what the Planning Commission did, what they voted on, and how they voted. Because you'll get more out of it today, like right now, because you already seen what the Planning Commission did. And they went over it, and this is a beautiful project. I understand there's people that, the NIMBYs, but on its own merit, it's a wonderful project. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
The next speaker is Luis Palomares.
Luis Palomares, community activist. Wow, here we are again. Houses, we need housing. Shalinda lives, it's her backyard. Well, I got a backyard full of houses too. And oh wow, I didn't know they were all gonna be there when I moved there, but oh wow. And I got ambulance going down all day long. And my poor dogs are screaming because their little ears hurt them with those ambulance. So let's stop that then, okay? It's like the NIMBY thing. Oh, you don't live there? Yes, I do live there. Are you kidding me? This developer's been in town forever and he's been putting out great projects here. Sorry, you're gonna live next door to something, and as far as changing the zoning, it's not like they're changing it to 10 or they're asking to change it more than 10 or more. I mean, hey, I think it's a good project. The developer put a lot of time and energy into it. She says, Shalinda said nobody told her. Okay, I can't speak for that, but I would think they did, but maybe not. Maybe she missed that call. And as far as the Planning Commission, they went over this. And with a fine-tooth comb, it was voted 6-1. They asked all the hard questions. So are we going to turn away another developer and more houses when we don't have enough housing as it is? Come on. If this was going right in my backyard, oh well, it is. We need housing. Like I said, they built the houses up there on Manzanita, a whole bunch of them. People were up in arms saying, oh God, all the traffic and all the houses that are coming there. It don't seem any more to me than not. The ones that go more through that canyon and more through that Manzanita, Paris, his people coming from the south side and other parts of the city to go through there. We need to open up a path through Pigeon Pass somewhere so we can get the other side instead of all just one, everybody trying to get, 3 in the morning, they're already out there on the rush. 3 in the morning, hey, I get my sleep nevertheless. I got used to it, but oh wow. So we need this housing. We need these 130, I believe. And like I said, the Planning Commission went through it with a fine-tooth comb, and it was good for them. So let's see what happens tonight. I hope we're gonna man up over here and, let's do what we gotta do for the community, the people, and the taxpayer that wanna come and invest in a house here. I got a granddaughter, she just graduated. There's something that I think the county supervisor is gonna put through, Exton Gutierrez, about putting so much money towards a down payment towards a house. She's a speech pathologist now. She went to college for a year, worked herself through Mimi's for 7 years. And, she's not in this school district. She's in Yucaipa, but they wanted her here, too, because they need them. But she wants to get in the opportunity to buy a home. So, no, we can't because we don't got enough housing. We got to go forward. We got to do the hard things and make the hard decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
The final speaker is Tina Escano.
I'll make this really brief. I just wanted to comment on this housing tract. When I came to Moreno Valley in 1993, I lived on Nita Drive, and in back of us was the old home base. And in back of the home base was a huge lot. And we were told that it belonged to the education system, the city of Moreno Valley School District, and that they would someday build onto that. Well, the whole time we lived there, it never happened. And now when we go by there, there's huge warehouse complex there. And what I would like to say is that in addition to warehouses that are being built, I think it's wonderful that we're building houses. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't build a house, especially if he started the track planning back in 2021 and now it's 2024. I don't know why it would take so long, number one, to get these plans approved, but number two, I just don't understand why there would be such a problem. I mean, there wasn't a problem. We knew what was happening when we lived there on Nita Drive. We knew that someday a school would be built there. Well, they sold off the land and they built a warehouse. It is what it is.
Thank you, Tina.
Councilmember Delgado, that concludes public comment.
Thank you, ma'am. At this time, I'd like to invite the applicant, David, back up to the podium if there are any any rebuttals for you, sir. You don't have to come back up. Okay, thank you. At this time, he declines. So I'm going to close the hearing now and invite any council deliberation at this time. So the hearing. Okay, go ahead, Councilmember Marquez.
Yeah, Mr. Patton, can you come up to the podium?
Yes, sir.
The housing shortage that we have in the state of California is very, very important to the city of Moreno Valley. And you know that because you built homes. Did that have anything to do with your decision to build or go from R5 to R10?
In part, it did. What we looked at was the market, and we said to ourselves, what does the market want? And today, the 10,000 square foot lots or quarter acre lots that people need to maintain, they need to first put the backyards in, then they need to maintain them, and then they have to keep them up indefinitely or else they just become absolute junkyards is not what people want. What people want right now in this segment of the market is to be able to have a freestanding, single-family, detached, two-story home with a small backyard to allow their children and pets to play. They want to see the communal space outside of their four walls. Therefore, that's why we put in 3 parks.
Okay, another question is your outreach to local residents. We heard from Ms. Benar that she had not heard, or maybe the neighborhood didn't get the message. Did you go out within a 500-foot area to the residents?
We had posted signs. First of all, I should say, I'd like to thank the city attorney. You may not know it, but when this was subdivided back in 1987 by Lewis Homes, the tract just to the east of the 78 lots that we're proposing, the surveyor took the marks off of Indian instead of Paris. So we have 10 homes that are 10 feet into our property. They are actually swimming in our backyards. So we've tried to work with all of the different neighbors. Not only to the south, we offered to extend the sidewalk to our southerly neighbor on Indian, Mr. Vaca, at no cost to him. We offered to put in the right-of-way on Goya to the northerly neighbor, the Liao family, at no cost to them. We also offered to improve the frontage of Iris beyond our property. So what we did is we went and reached out to all of the different stakeholders. We did hold a focus group on the property one day, and I'm sorry that Mrs. Council Member Barnard was not able to attend, but we took people's input into account when we designed these projects.
Okay. The dwellings, you maxed them out for 9.54 and 8.74, and that's already been asked by my colleague on that situation. It's been brought up to my attention from a group of not a group, but an organization about gas stoves, gas appliances. Is there an option that you can give to property owners when they purchase these homes from gas to electric appliances? Is that a possibility that you can do that?
The fact of the matter in today's environment is the subsidies that the gas company gives are just so competitive that you cannot compete with it electrically.
Okay. Wider streets, I spoke to staff and that's been answered. This is the one that I just can't get over it. It's going to be HOA.
Yes, sir.
And it's going to be private. And for the residents that don't know that, there's two differences in HOAs. There's a private HOA and then there's a dedicated HOA. And just real briefly, Mr. Patton, Sean, can you explain that, the private and the dedicated streets portion of that?
So ultimately, the difference between the private streets versus public streets is that the private streets will be maintained by the homeowners association, which will ultimately be written into as part of this project. So for this development, Iris, Indian, and Goya are all public streets. The remainder of the streets within the development will all be private and privately maintained.
So being private, these streets will not be swept by our street sweepers. The HOA, and the way it was explained to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that there's a group of residents that will get together to form the board on HOAs. Am I correct? And they'll make these bylaws for this community. My question is this, Mr. Patton, can you suggest to the new HOA staff or committee about limited parking on the streets, meaning overnight parking? If you're not a resident, you can't park on the street overnight or you'll be cited or towed. Can this be brought to the HOA committee from your standpoint of view?
Yes, council member. What we found in the past is if there is in fact a guest that needs to park overnight, they can get an allowance. But there will be a towing company that will be going around to maintain and make sure that there are no derelict vehicles left there in perpetuity.
And the reason I'm concerned is because these homes will not have a full driveway. Okay, they won't have a full driveway. Also, this day and age, if you have a family of four, you usually have one or two cars. But when you have a family of 5 or 6 and there's multiple drivers, garages aren't made for storage, they're made to park your vehicles in. And that's what's my concern about this overnight parking where you need a permit unless you live there. And that's, to me, I think it's going to create a problem, not only for the community in itself, but the surrounding areas. And that's just one thing that I'm not too comfortable with. The HOAs will maintain the streets, like they said. City won't have nothing to do with this. Do you think this will be a deterrent for people who buy homes in your project?
No, sir, quite the contrary. I think the knowledge and comfort that they can take in knowing that the common area spaces such as the parks, the parkways, the streets will be maintained in orderly fashion is a big benefit.
Okay, and this is in the landing path of the airbase.
We've
Am I
gone through
correct?
the Airport Land Use Commission and were approved.
Okay, you don't think there'll be a problem also purchasing a home, having big planes go overhead? Okay. Two more questions. No, that's okay. The pricing, do you know the pricing of these homes yet? What they're gonna run?
No, sir.
Who will determine that?
Ultimately, the market will determine it. But what we've tried to do is price these homes below the larger homes that are up off of Moreno Beach right now that KB is doing, and above what the attached projects Lennar and Pulte are doing. We are finding that this is a segment of the marketplace that is not being met.
Okay. And, okay, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much, Mr. Patton.
Thank you.
I also want to comment, I'm done already on yours, thank you. I want to comment on a couple of speakers about interviewing or looking at the videos from Planning Commission. I've gone to it twice and listened to the planning commissioners, and they did have a lot of questions, and good questions, and concerns. I hope and pray that future developments in these type of areas will bring housing to the community and not warehousing. As you have seen on the 215 freeway, what's going up all the way from the 91 215 interchange all the way out to past Paris, all warehousing. I'd rather see housing in these fields, in these communities where these open fields are. Eliminates trash, which there is a trash problem out there, which I understand. There's loitering in the side streets, drinking, drugs. They will eliminate this as long as you bring in a community. So I honestly feel at this point, and I haven't heard really much about negatives about this project. So I really, really appreciate Mr. Patton coming up here, and I think will be a darn good project for this community, and for the residents in the community there that have come out and who haven't spoke about the project or against it. I wish they would come out and speak more. But if you're afraid to come out, nobody's going to bite you out here. Nobody's going to attack you. Just come out and give your opinion. But on this project here, maybe I've heard one or two negative things about it, but it don't convince me that it's a bad project. It is a good project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Marquez, and thank you, Mr. Patton, for your ability to answer these questions. At this point, I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt staff's recommendations on the projects presented named Heritage Parks Neighborhoods 1 and 2.
I wanted to say a few words.
Oh. Before we do that, Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz.
I also watched the Planning Commission. I met with the developer. I saw the project site. I'm very excited to bring housing. I recently met with some of our community leaders here in the audience about the need for housing, low-cost housing, first-time buyers. I have adult children at home who, the rent is just so high. There's no opportunity to save if you're renting. So these kind of smaller projects here in the city are something I do want to see more of. I did have a question for Mr. Patton. You mentioned that there were some properties that were built on your property. What is the intent to settle that? Or will they be removing their pools? Will you be, what is the outcome of the property lines issue?
No, I do not want to take their backyards. In fact, should we be able to get this tentative tract map approved through a quick claim deed, we will give all of those property owners their backyards back.
Thank you very much. So that would be the only question I had after the presentations and after watching the Planning Commission. So I motion to...
Thank you.
I motion to adopt staff's recommendation on the projects Heritage Park Neighborhood 1 and 2.
I will second that.
Voice vote, please.
Okay. Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz,
Yes.
Councilmember Delgado,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcus.
Yes.
And that passes 3-0.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, thank you, Mr. Patton. You're good.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
councilors.
At this time, we're going to take a quick break to get the other council members back on board, and we'll be right back.
Back live in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Good evening and welcome back to our city council meeting, our regular city council meeting here in the city of Moreno Valley. It's now 7:22. We are back from recess. And at this time, we're going to go ahead and move into the next portion of our agenda, which is item K, general business. And we have two items. The first one is K1, which is appointments to various boards and commissions. And we will have a report by our city clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. The item tonight, as you said, it's appointments to various boards and commissions. Can we get media to put that on? Okay, there we go. Okay, we have vacancies. Vacancies from the Arts Commission, the Emerging Leaders, Library Commission, Parks, Community Services and Trails Committee, and the Senior Citizen Advisory Board. So we have vacancies for all of these. We'll go first with the Arts Commission. The Arts Commission has 7 members, 2 team members, and 1 alternate, and the quorum is 3. I thought you'd like to know that fact because a lot of times we get asked that question. What does it take to be a quorum? So we have 1 nominee for the Arts Commission that was recommended by their council person. And this individual is Rosanna Cortez. She's in District 1. And she would be basically fulfilling expired term. Somebody went away. So it would be filling an expired term, and it would be over in June 30th of 2024. And I went ahead and listed the vacancies remaining. So that would be, the vacancies would be after if the council decides to approve this slate, it would be 1 regular member and 1 team member. So it's almost filled. And the council representation, District 1 will have 2 regular members, District 2, 1 regular member and 1 alternate, and then District 3 would have 2 regular members, District 4 would have 1 regular member and 1 team member. The Emerging Leaders Council has 9 members, 2 alternates, and the quorum is 4 members. So we have 1 nominee, and her name, I believe it's a female, Suniva Thapa, and she's in District 1. Her term would be expiring 6/30/2026. The vacancies remaining would be 1 regular member, 2 alternate members, and 6 members at large. And then the council, the current council district representation would be District 1, 1 member, 1 regular member. That should have been flip-flopped. District 2, 2 regular members, and District 3, 3 regular members. And the District 4 is 2 regular members. So that's the makeup of our Emerging Leaders Council. The next one is the Library Commission. We have 7 members and 1 or more alternate that make up the Library Commission. The quorum is 4 members. So the nominees are Anna Christian. She's from District 3. Her term would expire 6/30/2024. And then Victoria Williamson is District 1. Her term would expire 6/30/2025. The vacancies remaining would be 1 alternate. Current council district representation, District 1, 1 regular member, District 2, 2 regular members, District 3, 1 regular member, and District 4, 3 regular members. For Parks, Community Services, and Trails Committee, their makeup is 7 members, 2 team members, 1 or more alternate, and their quorum is 3 members. We were notified late today that Mr. Steven Serrano Yepes pulled his application. So we won't be appointing, you won't be appointing him because he no longer wants to be on the commission. So anyway, for vacancies remaining, we would have 2 regular members. Well, that would be 3 regular members, 1 alternate member, and 1 team member. And then the current council district representation would be, for District 1, it would be 1 regular member. And then for District 2, 1 team member. District 3, 1 regular member, and District 4, 2 regular members. So we'll continue to advertise that one. Then we have the Senior Citizen Advisory Board. That's made up of 9 members, 1 or more alternates, and the quorum is 3. So the nominee, Martha Mieles, is from District 3, and her term would expire 6/30/2025. And the vacancies remaining would be 1 alternate because she has been serving as an alternate, but she would like to be a regular member. So she put in her desire to become a regular member. The current council district representation is District 1, 0 members, District 2, 4 members, District 3, 3 members, District 4, 2 members. So the recommendation is to approve the slate of mayoral nominees to various boards and advisory boards. And just for your information, the appointments that expire, like I stated, on 6/30/2024, we would need to be advised whether the city council would like to have these appointees finish off the term and then continue with the extended for a full year, 3-year term. So it'd be about 3 months and then they'd be out, or if the council so desires, they will add on the 3 years. That concludes staff's report. I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Appreciate that report. And that brings us next to council questions of staff, if desired. And we have a few here. Councilmember Delgado.
Yes, City Clerk, I just have one question regarding the members. It says 7 members, 2 team members, 1 alternate. 7 members, does that mean regular members and then
Yes.
2? Okay, so it's not a total of everybody?
No, it's,
Okay.
yeah, 7 regular members.
I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz.
I just wanted to make a clarification. I did speak to Mr. Steven Yepes, and he has a conflict with his work schedule. He has provided us his new schedule, and we'll be looking for a commission or board to appoint him to at a later date. And then I did have a question about some of the quorum is less than 50% plus 1 is. And then do the teens not count for quorum, or do they?
Well, there's a lot of disconnect with the boards and commission. We're hoping to clean it up.
Okay.
And that's yeah, it's in the municipal code as such. We went through and made sure the quorum's correct, but in my conversation with city attorney, there's just a lot of stuff that we need to clean up. Mm-hmm.
What about the teens? Do they count towards quorum?
The teens count as a quorum. I mean, if you want to count them. I mean, yeah. Because we have, let's see, for the arts, we have.
I think Steve is going to clarify.
Yeah, if they vote, then they can be counted toward the quorum. They
Okay.
should be counted toward the
So
quorum.
some of the committees that have 7 regular members and 2 teens and a 3 requirement, the 2 teens and a regular member can make quorum?
Yes, if
Okay.
they're allowed to vote.
Perfect.
We have one in Parks, Community Services and Trail Committee, Riley Peak. He's a team member.
And the chair, right?
Yeah.
I'm very proud of Riley.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next up, Councilmember Marquez.
Jane, on the Senior Citizen Advisory Board on Martha, you had said her term expired 2025. I have here 2026, just to clear it. You had said 2025.
Oh, did I say 2025? I have here 2026.
Okay, I just want that or less.
Let me go back to my Maddie Act. Yeah, it would be 2026.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's, I want to clarify that. So can I make that motion that we extend these expires Junes to continue for 3 years? Or do you want
I would support it, but we need to take public comment, and then we can entertain motions. But yes. Okay. Are there any further questions from the dais? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on public comment?
We have no request to speak, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
And Mr. Mayor, and the recommendation should be modified to exclude Mr. Yepes.
In the motion, okay. Thank you, Mr. City Attorney.
Mayor, we do have one request to speak. Luis Palomares.
Okay.
Luis Palomares, community activist. I'm glad that we're going to get these commissions and boards filled. It's good. And there's still vacancies, I believe. And let's just keep on filling them. And the 3 years is a good thing. Why start, all over in June again and go through this whole process again? So that's a good thing. And we got to let people know, because a lot of people don't know about these boards and commissions. We got to actually, I don't know what we can send it out on, maybe on the, when we put out the magazine for all the things that are going on through the summer, through all year long. And that way more people can know what's going on with these boards and commissions, because a lot of people really don't have a clue. Unless you're at the council, unless you look at the council meetings. So I think it's a good day, and let's keep it going, and let's fill these boards and commissions. And I think the 3-year thing is right on. Thank you.
That concludes public comment, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. So that brings us next into council deliberation if desired. And if there is no deliberation desired, I will entertain a motion by the council. And just as a reminder that per the city attorney's advice, any motion to approve should include language to exclude Mr. Yepes as he withdrew his application. And I would fully support extending the terms for those that are expiring in June for 3 years.
I make that motion.
Okay. Is
Yeah,
there a
second.
Okay. There's a motion by Councilmember Marquez, a second by Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz. Please vote. And a voice vote, please.
Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz.
Yes.
Councilmember Delgado.
Yes.
Councilmember Marcus.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bernard.
Yes.
And Mayor Cabrera.
Yes. And that motion carries unanimously as well. So that brings us next to item K2, which is the 2024 City Council Commission Board and Interagency Appointments. And we have a report from our city clerk.
This item, would you like to see the new appointments that you recommended? We can have them on the screen.
I know we could see it here, but maybe for the public's information, if it's possible.
If media could
If it's not too much work to put it up on the screen, but we can see it on our side for right now. Thank you.
So this item is the 24 City Council Commission Boards and Interagency Appointments. The previous council committee participation appointments were for either 6 months or 1 year and have come to their end. Mayor Cabrera has compiled the list for 2024, and with terms ending December 31st, 2024. I don't think they're gonna put our list up there. Ask Paul.
There it is.
Okay.
And in case, I know you have a presentation that you are going to go through as well, so if media wants to, or for the members of the public, I know it's up on the screen right now, that is a breakdown. There you go. Thank you, media. That's a breakdown. I don't want to steal your thunder, Madam Clerk. They have it on full screen, so I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, that was about it, Mayor. We made you made the recommendations and we updated our list, and there was a few new ones, and
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Clerk, and thank you to media for putting that up there. And that brings us next to council questions of staff, if desired. Are there any council questions at the moment? Okay, I don't see any, so we'll go ahead and move into public testimony. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests for public comment?
we have one, Luis Palomares.
Luis Palomares, community activist. I didn't get a chance to look at that really well, but that's okay. It looks like it's, from what I glanced at the list right now, it looks like it's evenly distributed now. We're spreading the wealth. I'm glad we're doing something a little different here. So as far as when the council members go to these different boards and commissions, we got to make sure things come up, you know, emergencies happen, but the alternates, you know, we got to make sure the one that's the, like, oh golly, I got all sidetracked here, but we got to show up to these boards and commissions because some of them ain't coming, and then the alternate has to be called out. So hopefully we do that. As far as I'm pretty sure everything's pretty well going forward and working out well, but I'm just making that suggestion here because I've been to a few of them and some of the consul's not there. So that's all I got to say about that. Thank you.
There's one more. The next public speaker is Tina Escano.
I have a question. After looking at that on the board, it says it expires in 2023. The term was up through December, nothing for 2024?
The term expires December 31st, 2024.
But the screen said 2023.
Can we get it back on the screen?
Yeah, I don't know what the screen says, but my printout says 2024.
Well, the printout that was on the screen said that it expired December 31st, 2023.
Okay.
Okay, we'll make sure to get, if that was an error, we'll make sure to get it corrected, but I think in the agenda, it was posted properly.
Yes.
Just to make sure.
Yes, it was not. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, what I had was the 2023 plus the 2024. But I can read all the appointments if you'd like.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay, so that was the last speaker, right? Okay.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Appreciate that. And thank you to our public speakers as well. So that brings us next to council deliberation, if desired. Are there any comments from the dais? Okay, we have Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz.
Can we still make changes to this? Yes, right. On the RCA board, I'm the alternate, and when I've been asked to attend that, because the primary I couldn't take off the time in the middle of the day on a Monday. So is there anybody else that could be placed as the alternate for RCA? You can do it.
So this would be for
The
Western
last-
Riverside County Regional Conservation Authority?
Yeah, it's in the middle of the day, and when I have been asked, it's
Okay.
a bit much.
So just for clarification, you're asking to,
Be
I think I'm
removed.
hearing from Councilmember Delgado that he's happy to take your place as alternate for RCA?
Yes.
Happy is such a. No, I do.
It sounded like he was happy.
Relative.
I do.
He's happy to volunteer. Okay, thank you for that clarification, Councilmember. Okay, are there any further comments from the dais? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve staff's recommendations, including that change that was mentioned just a second ago.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion by Councilmember Delgado, a second by Councilmember Marquez. Please vote and a voice vote.
Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz,
Yes.
Councilmember Delgado,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcus,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bernard,
Yes.
and Mayor Cabrera.
Yes. That motion carries unanimously as well. Thank you very much again to our city clerk for the report. That brings us now to the Regional Commission, Committee, and Board reports, and we have a few today. Going from the top, we'll start off with RCTC. That'll be report by Councilman Delgado.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight, I'm providing updates from the RCTC, Riverside County Transportation Commission Budget and Implementation Committee meeting that was held on February 26th. The committee heard a presentation regarding the proposed commission policy goals and objectives for fiscal year 24-25 budget, and recommended that the commission approve it. The committee elected Linda Molina and Valerie Vandever as chair and vice chair respectively. And that concludes my report on the last RCTC Budget and Implementation Committee meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have, if you'd like to go ahead and take both, Councilmember Marquez for RTA and also RCA.
Thank you, Mayor. At the RCA Board of Directors meeting on March 4th, reports including the following were received and filed. MSHCP fee collection, JPR status, property acquisitions status, state and federal updates, quarterly finance statements. Additional staff recommendations were approved for the fiscal year 23-24 budget adjustments and the ratification of RCA chair appointments. That includes my report on RCA. Riverside Transit Agency. Tonight, I'm providing updates from the RTA Board of Directors meeting held on February 22nd. The board held a presentation, and this is a shuttle that don't have a driver. And this is the autonomous vehicles. It's coming to Riverside, ladies and gentlemen. The City of Riverside and its discussions with RTA personnel forming a partnership to operate these vehicles as a pilot program. Staff will draft a proposed agreement to present to the board for their consideration. It was presented to us through the company who's providing these services, and they're from overseas. This company is from overseas, but they're going to make a local center here for this type of vehicle in Riverside. My question and concern is parts. That was my concern. The program was nice. I mean, I like to see this happen, but parts. These things are built overseas, and when they break down here, we ain't gonna have parts. But that was my concern. I thought I'd bring that up to you. The board also adopted the RTA service standard and warranty guidelines for existing and new transit services. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. And the fourth report is for the Western Riverside Council of Governments Executive Committee, and that's from Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz.
Thank you. At the WRCOG Executive Committee meeting on March 4th, the Finance Department and WRCOG Committee agency activities and reports were received and filed. Additionally, staff recommendations were approved for the following: amendments to the PACE financial agreements and providers, approval of TUMP reimbursements, credit agreements, cooperative agreements, and funding agreements, minor revisions to the strategic plan, authorization for climate pollution reduction grant MOU negotiations, and the approval of funding for a community and share pilot program. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilmember. And that'll conclude the regional reports. And that brings us next to M for the Employee Association report, and we don't have one this evening. And that brings us to N, which is the famous City Manager's report.
All right, thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Just two items tonight. Just a reminder, this Saturday is our Multicultural and Art Festival. I know Jeremy's team spent a lot of time putting this event together, so hopefully everybody can come out. It is a free event. We're going to have a lot of fantastic cultural events and programming, also some great food. So this Saturday, March 9th, from 1 to 5 at the Civic Center Amphitheater. And then second item is just a reminder, we are having our next free dump date. This is going to be on Saturday, April 13th. This is going to be at the county landfill. And this is a special program that's only offered to Moreno Valley residents. This is something that the council wanted us to do when we negotiate with the county. And this is a first come and first served basis, a limit of only 612 vehicles, Moreno Valley vehicles. Make sure you have to show your ID to get this special programming. And this is Saturday, April 19th from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. That concludes the City Manager's report for tonight.
Thank you, Mr.
Oh, I'm sorry, April 13th. Correction.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Appreciate the report as always. That brings us to item O, which is the City Council closing comments. And we'll start off with District 1, Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz.
Thank you very much. I recently attended a couple of events that I want to share with you. The first one was the SoCal Alt Car Expo held here in Moreno Valley for Western Riverside Council of Governments. I was asked to do a welcome, and there were many attendees here speaking about alternate transportation. We also attended the 2024 Riverside Sheriff Association Awards and listened to very touching, moving, and courageous stories about officers throughout our county, and most remarkably about those within Moreno Valley doing excellent work. I met with a nonprofit and discussed housing needs and what we're doing. I think that came to a very good conclusion, and some more movement. Today's consent was additional funding opportunities for subsidized housing. And I also attended the Trio Day at Moreno Valley College and learned that our Moreno Valley College president will be leaving us, so we'll have an opportunity to not only find a new superintendent for our community, but also a new college president. So I look forward to being a part of choosing new leadership for our students here in Moreno Valley. And that will conclude my report for today. Thanks.
Thank you. Next up, Councilmember Marquez.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to talk about trash. And Mike, you said about the dump day, free dump day. Well, East End, we're having complaints about trash out there. I honestly believe that the residents aren't doing this. I think it's coming from outside of the city, be honest with you. I've been asked to ask staff about cameras out there. It's costly, I understand that, but we're wasting our time. We put cameras out there. I'll tell you why. Because guys go out there shooting weapons out there. And that's going to be a great, great place to go out and shoot cameras off. So why put cameras out there? What we need to do, maybe, Mike and staff, is put a chain across that and put those yellow poles and the chain across there with no trespassing. Maybe that will stop them. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. But maybe that's something we can look at. But residents of Moreno Valley, free dump day, your trash. So please dump at the trash, at the site. Potholes, I was in San Bernardino today, and man, I tell you, driving to Moreno Valley, whew, compared to San Bernardino, every other foot was potholes all over the place. And I'm talking about downtown San Bernardino. Unbelievable. The streets are terrible. They're even worse than the 215 out here. And I'll tell you, oh yeah, it is bad. And I think about it, says, boy, I tell you, we got some streets out here that people would love to drive on. And we're paving them, and we're still doing potholes. So if you see potholes out there, call Melissa Walker's. And if she doesn't take care of it, we'll get maybe our assistant manager out there. What's his name? No, don't be pointing your finger back and forth. Nothing about you, Brian. Number one over here. But anyways, call somebody who cares, and our staff cares like we do up here. But anyways, there's going to be an event, and I lost the date of it. Maybe somebody can help me out. The Sheriff Volunteer Dinner, Friday, right? Yeah, okay.
Thursday.
Oh, this Thursday?
Yeah, don't listen to Ed. He doesn't work there.
Okay. Well, I don't know if it's open to the public or not. Is it open to the public? Anybody? No? Okay. Well, then forget it. Then, well, anyways, I'll be there.
We'll tell you all about it.
Yeah, we'll tell you about it next council meeting. But hopefully all the staff or my colleagues could attend it. That's something to unbelievable. It brings tears to my eyes sometimes when you see that the volunteers that want to help this community. And I appreciate every one of them. Thank you. If you're here, thank you for your time you spend. And maybe we should pay these guys, Sheriff. Remember you wanted an increase in your budget? Maybe we can add that in there and pay these volunteers for the work out there. But other than that, thanks everybody for coming out, and we'll see you next council meeting.
Thank you. Next up, closing comments from Councilmember Delgado.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few things that I did for the past 2 weeks. I attended the RSA Awards. That was really cool to see some of my colleagues that I've worked with the last 25 years. And it was, like Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz said, it was inspiring to see a lot of the deputies that do a job that day in, day out get recognized on a stage. That was really cool. I attended the ribbon cutting for La Carniceria, the meat market, the new meat market in Moreno Valley. And we had a barbecue the following Saturday, so that was very good, very, very good. If you haven't had an opportunity to visit that, the meat market, please do. It's awesome. The mayor and I also attended the Canyon Springs Band and Choir fundraiser. They are raising money to go to Washington, D.C., and they were selected. It's not just an open invitation. They were selected and invited to Washington, D.C., and they performed that night, and it was amazing. They're a very, very talented group of kids, both the choir and the band, and they have our full support. And I, too, watch the Planning Commission meetings, and I watch the Planning Commission meetings to get educated because the information that we have in our staff report is very, very detailed, but it doesn't have the human aspect of going back and forth, asking questions and answering questions. So I think that's the biggest takeaway I get from the Planning Commission meetings is the questions going back and forth and all the interaction between the members. So that was very good. And the last thing is spring is fast approaching, so enjoy the bloom, and you'll see the bloom coming up here very, very soon. In saying that, there's a lot of events planned for the spring. I went through them. Jeremy and his folks are working very hard to plan all of those. With that, you're going to see a lot of bees, hummingbirds, and especially butterflies. So remember the butterflies, and the poppies are coming. Don't shoo the butterflies away. Enjoy them. They are for us, God's gift to us. So, and also be kind to one another. I posted something on Facebook. It's not that hard to be kind, and if you do one kind thing for someone every single day, I guarantee your mood will change. Guaranteed. And if you don't believe me, try it. Right, Cherie? Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Next up, closing comments from Mayor Pro Tem Bernard.
Thank you, Mayor. So I want to highlight a few events that are happening. As they've already mentioned, we have our Multicultural and Art Festival happening this Saturday from 1 to 5. My favorite events are coming up. The Springtastic event is March 23rd. I apologize. March 23rd from 9 to 12 for children 12 and under. My personal favorite, and the reason Jeremy is here, because he's one of my favorite people, is the Adult Flashlight Egg Scramble will be at LaSalle Sports Park from 6:30 to 9 on the same day on March 23rd. So I just invite the public to come out to those events. I also, too, want to mention, as Councilmember Delgado did, about watching Planning Commission meetings. I routinely watch them. I know there were a couple speakers that mentioned you should watch the meetings. A lot of questions are asked. That still doesn't mean that the public, as well as council, still can't come up here and ask questions. Outside of what's asked there, we don't have to just necessarily rubber stamp and move on. So we're allowed to have those discussions. And also, I would just like to close every October. We always recognize Breast Cancer Month, but I also would like to recognize multiple myeloma for the month of March. It's Multiple Myeloma Awareness Month, so I'd like to recognize that and just recognize that in response to my grandmother who passed away almost 20 years ago of it. And with that, Mayor, I am done. You guys, and like Councilmember Delgado said, please be nice, be kind to each other, smile. I always say every day above ground is a good day.
Amen. Well, thank you for that, Mayor Pro Tem Bernard, and got a signal here that I got 2 minutes on the clock, so I'm gonna try to make this quick. Just a few things. No, I don't know if that's possible. 1 minute. So La Carniceria, I'll help you out a little bit there. La Carniceria, that went well. You know, Wagyu beef, tomahawk steaks, et cetera, et cetera. Excellent business. Hats off to staff. I was able to attend the Badger Springs speech competition, which was really nice. The youngsters, I mean, they're just amazing at how they're able to speak so fluently and without any hiccups at all. So that was amazing. Appreciate the district. Canyon Springs Fundraiser Gala went really well at the March Airfield Museum, and that'll be really nice to see Moreno Valley students representing the city and the district and the county in Washington, D.C. for the Memorial Day Parade. So that's the first of hopefully many to come. Moreno Valley Unified School District Annual STEAM Expo just happened this past Saturday. You know, a bunch of technology, vendors, partners. It was a jam-packed event, and I was able to take my son with me, and he just loved it. Just to see everything that they had going on, all the activities was really fun. Earlier today, I had the chance to go to El Potrero Elementary School. I think it's elementary school, preschool. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. For Read Across America, was able to read to a group of students there, which is always really nice, and appreciate the invitation. Also, do want to give some credit and a shout out to our supervisor, Gutierrez, who during the fundraiser gala, he actually announced that the Board of Supervisors was allocating $50,000 to support Canyon Springs Band and Choir. I mean, that's a lot of funding. So I think their goal was $200,000, and that alone is a quarter of it. And from what I hear, they're almost at the $200K. So really happy, and want to give kudos to the Board of Supervisors and Supervisor Gutierrez. And also, he recently shared his support. He was able to take a tour of the Sigma Beta Xi facility over off of Paris Boulevard here in the city of Moreno Valley. He was meeting with the leadership from Sigma Beta Xi and just expressing his support for the project. And again, a reminder that this project is dedicated to provide housing for homeless youth that are in our community, something that is desperately needed. So I'm really happy to see that partnership and his support for that project as well. And on that note, a little over 2 minutes here, but I want to just actually make a request or a proposal for a study session. Would love to get support from my colleagues and any feedback as well. It's been a while since we've had a study session on homelessness, and would like to ask and request for support. I think now we need at least three members of the council to be in favor of scheduling a study session for either April or May. I'll provide some flexibility because I know it takes a lot of work for staff to put these together, and maybe a month is enough, but 2 months might be better to provide staff enough time. So I would like for us, I think we should schedule a study session again to look at homelessness in the city of Moreno Valley, look at what the current situation is, what the reality is out there, and then have a conversation about, you know, a path forward, potential solutions, and throw some ideas around. So just, I guess I would be seeking a second and even a third on that.
Can I have a question? I have a question regarding that. Where did the ad hoc committee go? Are we doing that, or should we do that first and create, so this ad hoc committee that you guys requested, put it together, and then after that, the information that was generated and or questions generated, whatever that the outcome of the ad hoc committee meeting, then we schedule something like that? Or is that, because I think that would be a lot better, or?
Any other council members have any?
Mayor, as Councilmember Delgado is looking at me, he must be remembering that based on the last motion for bringing an item back, it was decided that it would be brought back on the 19th of March. So that item is scheduled to come back on the agenda at the next meeting.
For the homeless ad hoc committee?
For the homeless task force policy ad hoc committee, yes.
On March 19th. Okay.
So are you, okay, so we'll, let's do the discussion real quick. So Councilmember Delgado, are you saying you would like us to wait until the ad hoc committee is developed to see what the structure is of that before we have a study session? That way, like, if there's a separate meeting, then we can bring whatever we learned forward in the study session?
Yeah, I think that just makes more sense, because what you guys are gonna, or whomever is on this committee, I don't know who is gonna be on the committee, they're gonna do all the legwork for the information that we can discuss at a study session.
And when we talk about homeless, can we also include like the subsidized housing and the first-time buyers, any kinds of subsidized and low, because those are also like the near homeless that they were telling us about. Because as serious as the homeless situation is, I think that group in between that isn't on the streets, but they're like technically homeless, they're not even living in their own single-family home. Yeah. Those, I think we should also address and talk about funding and what we're doing for those. So I think when we bring something back about homeless, that we should encompass also all that we're doing for housing.
And also one other thing, suggestion is bring all these nonprofit groups. You know, there's so many out there. Yeah, bring them to the table also and listen to what they have to say. And this way we can't be accused of not listening to this group or that group. Invite them all out here and we do it all at one time.
So Mayor, council members, as the item that I previously mentioned is coming back on the 19th, obviously it's an open dialogue on that particular topic, but I was planning on adding and currently adding various items so that it can help in the development of the conversation. So one of them is our nonprofit roundtable, in which we meet quarterly with all the nonprofits. If you'd like, we can bring back more than just, bless you, more than just the homeless conversation from a funding perspective, but also what we do for our affordable housing and our affordable housing funds that are through the Home Invest, through the HUD entitlement process that we have. So I can add these comments that you're bringing in so that you can have additional dialogue from the dais and provide additional direction to staff, which will ultimately have to then create a resolution in which that's how ad hoc committees are created, as well as anything else that you may want to motion at that particular point in time.
Thank you for that. Thank you to my colleagues as well. We're having a real good discussion here. So I guess the consensus, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, sounds like there's preference to not schedule a study session at this time, wait until March 19th, have that conversation, and to ACM Mohan's point, would you like us to give formal direction right now to add into March 19th about affordable housing, or is that something that you could do on your side?
No, I can do that on my side. So I've got affordable housing, at-risk residents who are one event away from housing, whether that be a flat tire or an unexpected bill.
So we'll call it the Homeless and Housing Ad Hoc Committee, H&H.
Yes, well, that direction will be on the 19th, but I'll also then discuss the nonprofit roundtables and some of the other things that we do at a staff level.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll do that then. Okay, so with that, we'll go ahead and conclude today's meeting, and we'll adjourn officially at 8:07 p.m. Have a good night.